Good afternoon, friends and family. This is Mark Johnson coming to you again from Oklahoma City, and this is a series of videos that we're going to be producing the next few weeks leading up to the celebration of 70 years of ministry event for Reverend David L. Johnson. This section this year is going to be this section today rather is going to be about the early years of his ministry from the time of his birth, 1930, up until about the time he was married and took his first full-time pastorate, 1950-1951. So at this time, I'd like to bring in our special guest, Reverend David L. Johnson.
Thank you, Mark.
Yes, sir.
It's good to be here.
Good.
Look forward to fellowshipping with you.
Okay.
Okay.
And say a word to our audience. Just let them know, what you're excited about and what you're going to talk about today.
Well, I'm excited to be alive today because the many things that the years I've been around have brought me through. And I'm interested in sharing some of it with Mark and those of you who are watching or listening to this.
That's great. And as I said in the intro, we're going to be talking about the early years of your ministry today. So your folks were both ministers. I know them as Granny and Peepaw, and other people know them as Dowan and Ida. But tell us about those early years. You grew up with your parents really running the roads, right?
Yes, they sure did. And then, of course, the time came when it was time for me to go to school at 6 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to stay on the road. So I stayed with my older sister and her family.
And what was her name?
Her name was Clara.
Okay, and her husband was?
Leslie Nash.
Great.
And they pastored churches, and I moved in and lived with them while my folks went ahead with their evangelistic ministry while the school term was on.
And when you traveled with your parents, what did you do for them in the services?
I served as a master of ceremonies, really, directed the music and encouraged the youth to be a participant as each one. And so it was interesting to go from church to church and help reach the hearts of people that needed help.
Fantastic. But at age 14, you made a special visit to a special church and something happened. Tell us about that.
Yes, and that year the World War II was in full bloom, 1944. And there was a ration on gas and other things. And a lady who came to help my mother in her illness invited us to her church. And it was a church.
Did you say it was a Black Pentecostal
Black
church?
Pentecostal
right?
church.
Okay.
And their service didn't start till 9 o'clock at night because they all had jobs in the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
So we went, and they had a special speaker from Chicago speaking. And during that meeting, my heart was touched, and I had a religious experience that changed my life completely.
You were filled with the Holy Spirit then.
Only 14 years of age.
Uh-huh.
Preached my first sermon in that black church. Preached my first revival with the pastor's son, who was my age,
Wow.
in that same church.
And that would have been 1944 during the Second World War.
Yes, right in the middle of it.
That's great. And then after that, you felt called to the full-time ministry, right?
Yes.
And you began to take some training sessions
Yes.
with a certain denomination. Talk to us about that.
Those were available through many denominations, really. But it was a home study, and that kept me involved rather than going to a college and living in the dorm or something.
Which
like
denomination did you focus on the training courses from, though?
Assembly of God.
Okay. And did you pick up credentials then, or was it later, or how did that work?
It was during that period of time I got the beginner's credentials.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you progressed, they moved you on up into license and eventually ordination.
Okay.
So it was a process. You didn't turn up and say you wanted to preach and they laid it on you. You had to work for it.
That makes sense. And then at the end of that process, you accepted an associate pastorship. Is that right?
Yes, with my brother-in-law.
And his name was?
Leslie Nash.
Great. And where was that? Where did they live?
Where was that?
Bruni.
It was in Bruni.
In Bruni,
Okay.
Texas. Yeah, Bruni, Texas.
And I understand there's a story we need to hear about that happened in Bruni.
Oh, yes. So it became that season in the year when school was going to start. And my folks wanted me to stay with my sister and her husband, who pastored in Bruni. So they parked me there, and the school started in early September. My birthday is the 29th of September, And when it came around, they had a birthday party for me. And they said, we'll cook anything you want for your birthday. Well, in South Texas, I enjoyed the tacos that they made. And I said, just give me tacos, and I'll eat one for each year. So they dished them out, and I ate 16. Now, 15 and 16 was a little hard to get down.
I don't know, did they laugh and cheer?
Oh,
and give you
they
a big...
cheered, they cheered.
All right, so that was a really fun time. And
It was, because that made me a part of the crowd.
And what year would that have been?
1956.
Wow.
No, is that right?
No, that was my birth year, so it can't be that. 46, maybe. Yeah, so you were 16 and 46.
46.
So it would have been 46.
46.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Maybe more young people these days should eat a taco for every year of their birth when they turn 16. That would
I
be good.
couldn't do it now.
Hey folks, listen, thanks for being with us. We're going to roll out one of these videos every week, maybe even a couple of weeks, getting ready for the big event down in Houston on June 17th. We hope you can join us. Mark Johnson from Oklahoma City. We'll see you later. Bye.